good morning. Or should I say, ahlan? Or maybe I should say, hello. Or guten Tag. Or shalom. Or namaste. Or maybe you understand hola. Or salam. Or konnichiwa. Or ni hao. Maybe you understand sambaidi. Or if you're a teenager, I'll just say, hey. Good morning to everybody. Or sometimes it's a bark and a squeak, and that's how we say hi. Grace says hi this morning. So I'm glad to see you today. I am wearing my red because this Sunday is the church day of Pentecost, and we'll read about that a little bit in a bit. But I hope everybody's having a good day today. It should be warm for the next couple days, so here, come on up. Come on up. All right. Somebody got her bark box in the mail, and can anybody guess what the theme was? Can I see it? Here, can I see it? Can I show everybody what you have or who you have? I think there might be a movie coming out, which is why the bark box package had a theme of Scooby-Doo. So yes, we have. She'll only let you see the backside of it. Hi. And so, somebody got her nails clipped yesterday. Yes. Let's start by reading our story today. It comes from your Stark Story Bible. It is the story of Pentecost, which comes from the book of Acts. But we are reading on page 502. The Holy Spirit. So if you want to follow along, you're more than welcome. Jesus' disciples were celebrating a festival called Pentecost when suddenly a strange wind blew through the house. Everyone's hair lifted up, and there was an amazing noise. They looked at each other. It looked like each disciple had a flame of fire touching them, but no one was burned. The Holy Spirit had come, just as Jesus promised. The disciples began to speak in different languages they never learned. Stranger yet, they could understand each other. Peter stood up. I want to tell you about Jesus. He reminded everyone what Jesus taught them. He told them how Jesus died and lives again. It's time for us to begin a new life with God's Spirit guiding us, Peter said. The disciples were excited to live differently, guided by God's Spirit. This was the very beginning of the Christian church, with a suggestion of learn to say thank you in different languages. I just gave you an intro of how to say hello. But it's important to say thank you too, like gracias, or muchas gracias, or xie xie, which is Chinese, which I needed to learn when I was in China. So I think it's kind of cool to hear this story about how the Holy Spirit works. The Holy Spirit comes to us where we're at and speaks to us in ways that we understand. I think sometimes because we read the Bible in English and we speak in English, that sometimes we think that that the Holy Spirit only speaks in English. But it's really cool to be in other countries and to hear the Bible spoken and to hear the message proclaimed in other languages, even if you don't necessarily understand it. Because I think it helps us understand that God is not just here in Highmore. God is here in Highmore. But to know that God is all over the world. So yesterday was the Independence Day, the 4th of July, but it wasn't the 4th of July, for some friends of mine who live in a country called Guyana. Now, I'd say hello to you in their language, and it would be hello, because they speak English there. That is their main language, though there are other languages within the country. But I think about when I read the story of Pentecost, I think of my time in Guyana and hearing the message proclaimed down there as well. To know that God is at work there and God is at work through people around the world in very different languages. Languages we may understand, languages we may not understand. It amazes me how the Holy Spirit works. And in the story, it talks about the Holy Spirit. They saw that the Holy Spirit was like little flames of fire that were resting on people. It was on all the people, not just one or two different people. It wasn't just special people. It wasn't like just the pastor had it, but all the people. Young and old, little kids too. Because the Holy Spirit works through you too. So, hi Pat, it's good to see you. Grace is here if you haven't figured that out. I think maybe this week we find new ways of sharing a message that may not be understood by everyone. Because not everybody knows the story of Jesus. It may, for some people, hearing the story of Jesus would be like me saying to you, ni hao, where you would think, I don't know what they're talking about, but I want to learn more. Actually, story of me saying ni hao, I remember being in, I think it was in Beijing, and there was a little girl who was looking at me very curious. I think because she's not used to seeing people that look like me. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I smiled, and I said, ni hao. And she looked surprised, and she looked at her mom, and her mom said to her, I think her mom said to her what would be in English is, she said hi to you, what do you say back? Because the little girl smiled at me and said, ni hao. We were learning each other's language. We were learning how to speak to each other. And I think that's important, that we learn how to speak with other people. Because this message of Jesus is not limited to just how we speak, but it's for everybody. So let's find new ways of sharing this message with other people, because the Holy Spirit rests on you as well. All right, so that was short and sweet. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful week, that you're able to go outside and enjoy the beautiful weather before it gets hot, because I'm hearing it's going to get hot all of a sudden. But I wish you a joyous week, and blessings to you all. So, yeah. So have a wonderful week. Bye-bye. Or, adios.